75 years of Edinburgh Fringe, and finally we've got a deaf festival.
When I started the job here about 5 years ago, I did have a kind of feeling that we really needed to have something, because obviously Edinburgh is famous for the festival, and having a look around, there was nothing.
It's the first time, I think there's been lots of people watching to see what's going on. I think that the reputation now is out there. Deaf Action, what Deaf Action are doing here in this building with deaf performers is exactly on the part of what's going out there in the mainstream fringe. I hope that people will really think about how to make all of the shows as inclusive to everyone as they possibly can be.
Accessibility's come right to the fore again, you know, and it's very much nice to see. You were talking on the way down the road, you've got a signer coming to a couple of your shows as well.
Kiri's team reached out to Deaf Action and asked to have 2 of her performances interpreted. And as part of the delegation of interpreters, it just so happened that I got Kiri's show.
Yeah, I met her yesterday. What a phenomenal woman. I'm so excited now. So I've got a signer coming on the 12th and the 26th to do some BSL, which was something that was put to me this year. I think in previous years, I was aware of it, but I didn't know you could, you know, I just didn't know how to make it happen. And my producer's been brilliant. They're like, right, we found someone who's going to come and do it. So I sent her a recording of the show, and I thought that would be it, but she came to see the show yesterday.
Amazing.
In terms of doing the performance, I mean, she speaks quite quickly and she has lots of facial expressions, so I didn't want to steal any of that. So I kind of knew when to stop and just let the audience look at Kiri.
And she was like, oh, I really want to wear something shiny because you're so, and she's like, I want to wear some big earrings because you talk about that on stage. So she was like, I haven't got anything like that. And I was like, don't you worry. So I'm going to give her a full makeover, and she's going to be bedecked in sequins as well. Because
obviously the audience were then, you know, buoyed up to know that Kiri was here, but also that she was making it accessible to deaf users. So that felt really nice. I felt really integrated into the performance.
It elevates everything, and I think it's hopefully been a good refresher for people to take another look at accessibility and actually think it can just make things better.
Our expectations of the Deaf Festival, you know, were one thing, but this has just completely exceeded anything that we could have thought of. It's been amazing, so much bigger than we had thought it could be.
Sadly, Edinburgh isn't exactly the most accessible of places, and I don't think it ever will be. While I appreciate that there's only so much they can do in such an old city, I do sometimes feel like they use that as an excuse not to try harder to do more. For example, it's very depressing when I turn up to watch a show and find out it's up loads of stairs or whatever. Thankfully, I can manage to struggle up them, but not every disabled person has that option. They need to provide more information about how accessible a venue is in the Fringe programme and on their website.
My old dad was up the other day, and my dad's 80 next year, and he walks with a stick, and it's not a very friendly city for that. No. And I was suddenly very aware of, you know, when you can't move for very, you know, long and stairs are difficult, it's not a great city. And, you know, it's quite late where we've had to have sort of disability access, but
we can always do more to boost accessibility. So what would you like to see more of in August next year and beyond?
So it'd be great to have the Deaf Festival as really genuinely part of the Edinburgh Fringe. I mean, it is now, but I think we're a little bit out of it.
Venues such as the Gilded Balloon and the Pleasance also seem to be really on the ball in terms of helping disabled people get into their rooms. I think they're leading by example, and other venues should definitely make note.
My venue are brilliant, but ultimately, because it's an old city, there are steps into most places, and I hope that'll be something that we come to look at in years to come. Yeah. And they've been brilliant, and, you know, we open up the house early and make sure we're settled, you know, everyone's settled and happy and things, and there's plenty of room to get out, but I think we can always do more.
I would definitely like to see the Fringe become more accessible in other ways as well. There needs to be more performances that are accessible to everyone, by using things such as sign language interpreters and audio description. I feel that this aspect is still massively overlooked by the fringe in general.
For me, it's about inclusivity, making whoever wants to go and see a performance able to go to see the performance they want to see and feel like the content of the show, the facilities in the building is inclusive to everyone. By part of that, I mean, you know, not an artist just saying, oh, it's good to have a BSL interpreter, let's just have one, but really working with the BSL interpreter, working with the deaf community, saying, this is my show, how can I make it more accessible to you? How can we make all of the shows more inclusive to everybody?
I mean, when you look at broadening the access for people in any disability, really when you're looking at that, you have to speak to the community, involve the community, involve the people. That is the most important thing that you can do to move forward in any way.